Hey everyone, welcome back to Simply Scented Life. Rachel here with a post-burn in-depth review. We are going to be taking a look at Kringle Candle's new fragrance, Lil Devil. And this is the puppy version of Lil Devil. There was also an alternate label style with a kitten on there, and they are both the same fragrance, so just be aware of that. They are the same scent. And these candles, though they are currently sold out, they are part of the Boo Crew collection, which came out in August and sold out almost immediately. They are going to be restocked soon. I don't have a date, but I know that the candles were in production last week, and those that had gotten oversell notices, so people who bought on launch day, their orders went through. Some people did get a notice from Kringle saying that the system oversold quantities of the candle that they did not have, and gave people the option to just wait until the candles were ready and re-poured, and then they would send it out, or you could cancel your order. But those who opted to wait, I know have gotten shipping notices for their candles, so I have to imagine the restock is going to be taking place pretty soon. So I don't have a date, but if you were interested in getting in on the re-pour action here with these candles, I would keep your eyes peeled over the next week or two. If I get any information, I will update you, but keep your eyes open and see if any word comes out of the restock. But as of my time of filming today, I do not have any date yet. I also don't know if there's going to be a purchase limit. There was a purchase limit of 1 per variety the first time, so I'm imagining there's going to be some sort of limit this time around. And the only other information I have regarding this restock is that Bobbing for Apples and Howl at the Moon, they will not be restocked. It's only going to be Lil Devil, Boo Hoo, Movie Night, and Ghost Stories. So those are the 4 that they're going to be restocking for that. And the other 2, I think, lingered on the website a little bit longer. Bobbing for Apples might even still be there. It was the last I looked, but those 2 will not be restocked. Bobbing for Apples and Howl at the Moon. So if you had interest in either of the other 4, just keep your eyes opened. And that's all the information I have on that. These are going to be priced at $34. They are in the Ombre jar, as you see there, which is kind of a sort of matte finish where it's lighter on the top, darker at the bottom. You still see the light through the jar, and just a really nice Halloween touch. I feel like I really love the ombre jars, and I really hope we see some sort of version of that for holiday at some point. I would love to see a sort of frosted glass theme for holiday. That's just something that I'm hoping for. No, I have no word of that. Just something I'm throwing out there into the universe. But these are 22 ounces, 100% soy wax, as always with Kringle here. And if you are looking for a discount, you are welcome to use my affiliate code, Simply Scented, and that will get you 15% off. Just know that that is an affiliate commissioned code. So because I am an affiliate with Kringle, anytime somebody uses that code, I do get a small commission off of that. And I want to thank you if you do choose to use it. Really means a lot to me. And because I'm reviewing this, and I like to let you guys know, anytime I'm reviewing something, whether it was sent to me or if I bought it, this was my own purchase. I purchased it at the same $34 with 15% off as everybody else. This was not a gift to me from Kringle, but regardless, I always give you guys my honest opinions, and I'm actually going to give you some arguments for and against buying this today. So stay tuned for this review if you are still kind of on the fence. A couple things about this review for your reference. This is based on about 35 hours of burn time. So some solid burn time on this, and this has a pour date of July 15th from that original batch. And if you are going to be shopping the restock, you will have a different pour date. So if there's any subtle differences, I know Kringle really tries to make sure their batches are pretty consistent, but even just that initial cold sniff, personally, I find that candles that are very fresh pours, Sometimes like certain notes will stand out differently to me versus that same candle that's now been sitting for a couple months where the oils have had a chance to kind of settle into the wax a little bit more. So just something to be aware of. And in terms of performance though, this has performed really well right out of the gate. We will talk more about that at the end of this review, but just kind of in reference to my Boohoo review where I had said that I was going to let the remainder of that jar kind of sit until next year. This one I've had no issues with right away, so if you're buying this, I think you will be good to go. But getting into our scent notes here, we have top notes of Lush Pumpkin, sweet nutmeg, and creamy custard, mid notes of spicy clove, cozy cinnamon, and rich maple syrup, and base notes of caramelized sugar, earthy carrot, and warm vanilla. All right, so let's kind of talk about this scent here. The Cold Stiff, I will say, definitely this was the most impressive of the 3 candles that I bought on cold. This one, Boohoo, and Ghost Stories were the ones that I purchased. And this one definitely was the strongest on cold. And it came across as kind of your typical gourmand pumpkin spice with a little bit of that carrot in there to add just a little bit of uniqueness. Definitely got a little bit of a slightly vegetal carrot tone on cold. And this one going from cold to warm, I will say this definitely bloomed, and the different components here felt very balanced. And the spice, which usually that's my problem with pumpkin spice scents, is I feel like the spice kind of overwhelms the pumpkin and doesn't let the pumpkin shine or the other elements of the candle. And this, while it's still very spicy to me, I'm still getting a lot of enjoyment out of the pumpkin note, and I'm still getting some sweetness here to balance things out. And no, it doesn't reinvent the wheel necessarily, but it's still just, to me, a very well done sort of pumpkin scent. And for me, sometimes that's all I need. I don't need something fancy. I just need a good scent that's done well, that performs well, and that's what I'm getting here with this one. So we'll break down the notes here a little bit as to what I'm smelling now into the burn. And for me, this is definitely an orange pumpkin, a sort of rich orange pumpkin note. And I think some of that richness comes, one, a little bit from that earthy carrot, which I am still getting in the burn. There is that just slightly vegetal carrot note about it. The earthiness doesn't have like that dirty quality, but just slightly like that vegetable-like tone to it. And the pumpkin and the carrot making for that nice rich orange quality. And that to me attaches itself a little bit to the creamy custard note. And for me, like what it reminds me of is pumpkin pie filling after it's been baked. So once that filling takes on that sort of creamy, velvety, custardy like texture, that's reminiscent of what I'm getting here. I still feel like ultimately the pumpkin does win out and is more present than that carrot note, but it's worth noting that it's there. And this doesn't smell like carrot cake to me. This definitely feels more in that pumpkin family. And part of that I think has to do with these being sort of traditional pumpkin pie type spices. For the actual spice notes here, I get a pretty good mixture of the cinnamon and the clove. And the cinnamon is more in that sort of bakery cinnamon stick sort of realm. It's spicy, but it's not red hot. The clove also being spicy, but it's very blended in. And if you don't like clove, now I happen to love it, but if you don't like it, I mean, I am getting a decent amount of it there, but it is still balanced and it doesn't overwhelm the spices here to me. And I think part of it is that nutmeg kind of coming in to break it up a little bit. The nutmeg having a sweeter, almost slightly citrusy tone, and just adding a little bit of a pop of a contrast against those deeper, more spicy spices. And then we have our maple syrup note, which I will tell you guys, this is a pretty sweet candle to me. It's not coming across as cloying, and I actually kind of like the sweetness to balance out those spices. But if you are somebody who does not enjoy those really sweet candles, I am getting a good deal of sweetness from this one. And likely that's coming from this maple note here, as well as possibly the caramelized sugar. The maple note here is funny because on one hand, it really reminds me of just like a fresh, authentic maple syrup. So not your artificial like Mrs. Buttersworth in the bottle at the grocery store. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but for me that takes on a little bit different tone and almost automatically makes me think pancakes, where this doesn't make me think pancakes at all, and it's a little bit more authentic, but it is a bit sweeter and has just a different quality about it. And sometimes when I'm kind of looking for this maple note here, I feel like that with the caramelized sugar component at the base of this candle almost makes me think a little bit of those maple candies, if you've ever seen those. I don't know if that's a regional thing up here. I'm in New England, not too far from Vermont. So up here you can find them pretty much anywhere, but there's these little candies usually shaped like a leaf or something like that, and they have like this like crystallized sugary texture on the outside with a nice sort of creaminess in the middle, and it's just like a mouthful of maple if you've ever had them. But there's something in here that at times will make me think of those a little bit, but again, not overshadowing the pumpkin, not totally overshadowing the spice, just kind of nicely balanced in there. We talked about the earthy carrot at the base kind of, melding itself through here, but then also that vanilla I feel like is kind of one of those notes that just kind of pulls itself through the candle, kind of, adding to the overall quality of that rich, lush pumpkin, adding to that just sort of rich feel, that gourmand, yummy feeling of this candle. But I mean, overall, this is a really nice scent. Now, we'll get into a little bit of comparison here, and we'll kind of talk a little bit of pros and cons with this as well, because there are some things that this kind of reminds me of a little bit. So to me, in my opinion, this kind of sits between two different Kringle candles that I've had before. It's almost like Kringle's carrot cake from Easter time had a little baby with their salted maple pumpkin fragrance, which is in their standard collection for fall. It's kind of got that spiciness and that carrot and that sort of tone from the carrot cake fragrance, but then it's also kind of got that sort of rich, luscious, baked sort of pumpkin quality about it, a little bit sweet quality about it from salted maple pumpkin. So to me, this just kind of sits nicely in the middle. So depending on what your feelings were on either of those, like salted maple pumpkin is not really a spicy scent, but it's more focused on that creamy pumpkin and that sweetness, versus carrot cake having more of that spice. So if you wanted something a little bit more middle of the road between those, and you've had those, and I apologize if you haven't had them and you have no idea what I'm talking about, but just throwing this out there for those who have had those fragrances, because a lot of you I know, like, you like the same sort of genre. Sometimes you've tried one that you might be able to relate to. I like to throw those little comparisons out there because I know sometimes it helps just kind of put your mind, where these things lie the closest. But that to me is what I kind of get from this. So with that said, do you need this? Do you not need this? I will say performance-wise, is kind of a non-factor. This is pretty been strong. I would say this is like in the 7-8 range in terms of the intensity of the fragrance, and pretty similar on the throw. This has a pretty good reach. I burn in an open concept space, from in a kitchen open to a high ceilinged living room, and this will carry itself through that space and down the hall. So this is a pretty solid candle in terms of the actual strength performance, and not having any burn issues whatsoever with this one. It's burning nice and clean, just the way it should be, no wick trouble. So, performance aside, let's say this is, kind of a great performing candle. Talking about the scent now, do you need it? Do you not? For me, it kind of comes down a little bit to the packaging here and what you're essentially looking for in a fragrance like this. If you are somebody who enjoys this packaging, you like the concept here, you really like the ombre jars, you want something in this collection, and you enjoy pumpkin scents, then I think you will be very happy with this one. On the other hand, if you are somebody who is not drawn to this packaging, maybe it's a little bit cutesy for you, maybe you don't do Halloween, that's not your thing, and you're just looking for a good pumpkin scent, and you're wondering if it's worth the extra price tag on this one for being a specialty candle, that's where it gets a little bit tricky, because for me, I feel like I'm definitely getting a similar gourmand pumpkin bakery style feeling from this one as I did from salted maple pumpkin, which is readily available, goes on sale a lot. And for you, if there's nothing about this packaging that's pulling you in, you might find you're more happy or content with salted maple pumpkin. So that's my 2 cents on it, and others might feel differently. But if you're having trouble deciding, because I know we're all kind of maxed out at this point in fall, candle companies have probably gotten most of their fall offerings out to this point, and we're gearing up for the holidays. So if you're kind of in that sort of budgety place where you're like, oh, do I need it? How do I make myself feel better if I skip this one? That's my opinion on this one. So, if you have had salted maple pumpkin, or if you haven't, maybe you might enjoy this one. So that's my feelings on Lil Devil. And overall, a solid performer, a solid fragrance. And I've been enjoying it, and I will probably burn maybe a little bit more. I might save some for next year just so I can save some, but not because I'm bored of it, and not because I need a break. But another thing I will throw out there for you guys is I have been burning a whole lot of Kringle's, Kringle Country Candles, the now discontinued apple pumpkin pie lately, which is kind of in a similar family to this as well. And I've really been enjoying that one. So if you picked that one up on a sale, there's been so many sales on that candle over the last year when they were clearing out the country candles. I made a post about it recently here as well, and it's sold out now. But if you have that in your stash and you've been saving that one, this, I mean, yes, it's different, but has a similar just sort of fall bakery feeling about it. If you have that one in your collection, maybe you don't need this one too. I don't know, because I've been getting a lot of enjoyment out of that candle, and it's such a sleeper scent that I feel like I haven't seen a whole lot of talk about. And once I lit it up this fall, I was like, wow, I have been missing out, and I really regret not getting another jar of that apple pumpkin pie. So I don't know. That's just my opinion, guys. I'm just one opinion of many out there, so take it with a grain of salt. But either way, I hope you got something useful out of this video. And if you enjoyed it, please make sure you give it a thumbs up, and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate it when you guys do that and when you stick around. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this review, and I hope you are doing well, and I will be back soon with some more reviews.